As you know, we're very keen on how people have exhibited self-leadership because we understand that in order to get anywhere, that's one of the things we do. Now, Bev, I believe you have opened and actually had to make the decision to, first of all, open a magazine and then at some point close it. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
No, I'd love to, because there's been some pivotal times in my career and I have done many different jobs. But I think the big turning point for me in terms of personal growth was in 1997 when I decided to start the magazine Work From Home. I'd been watching for years these amazing women that I thought was just so capable and so clever, and I thought they had like a different gene pool than me. I really did. I just thought, what is the secret of all this? And I
miss out on.
That's right. So I finally found the book, and I'm happy to name this book. I've told so many people about it. It's a book by Barbara Shears called I Could Do Anything If I Only Knew What It Was.
That's what changed my life.
Pivotal book in my life.
I agree.
Yes.
Great book. Go get it.
It's called I Could Do Anything If I Only Knew What It Was. And I read that book, and she just has some amazing exercises in the book to help me think about where I wanted to go. Out of that, which is quite a long process, I identified publishing as something I could do and would enjoy doing. So I then decided to start a magazine about home-based business because I saw a niche for it. Had no idea how to do it, but using her kind of philosophies, I knew, well, if other people do it, it's doable, therefore I could figure this out. So I started asking questions, gathering information, and really that's what led me to starting that magazine. So just the way that she set out that process, like it's actually quite simple.
And that was kind of pre-internet too, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely, 97, yes, yeah, definitely was. So I really literally went into a news agency, picked up a magazine, went to the counter, and I said, how do these magazines get into news agencies? I really had no idea. So that's where it started. And people would just tell me information. That was fantastic.
So ask the question and you'll get the answer.
Yes, yes. People are wonderful. I think Barbara Shears talks about 99% of people are happy to help other people. Yeah, which is really true. Yeah.
And what happened from there?
Well, I did that magazine for several years and sold it to another publishing company and worked with them for about a year. My life changed at that time, but I started another magazine in 2006. I had really enjoyed doing the previous one and always knew I wanted to get back to that. So in 2006 I started Honestly a Woman and did that for 3 years till we had our big global financial crisis, as they say.
The one that we had to have.
That's right. Yes, so I got to a point with that where it was just starting to level out and cover the costs, but then because when you're publishing a magazine, most of your income comes from advertisers, and I wasn't prepared to be the horrible person on the phone chasing advertising in the economic climate that was around end of 2008, start of 2009. So I had to make a really tough decision to close the magazine, which I was quite emotionally attached to it, and I had to get away from it, from New Zealand actually, and could see from that distance that I really had to.
So you were still working on the magazine and you took a holiday to New Zealand?
My partner's from New Zealand, so we went there for Christmas 2008, 2009, and while we were over there, and I was, as I said, there's something about distance. You can detach yourself emotionally when you've got big decisions if you get away and
think about
them. Yeah.
So that's a great piece of advice for our listeners.
It is actually. If you're caught up in the intensity of something, just physically remove yourself for a week or something, and just what I've found works for me is just immerse yourself in your mind in an alternative situation. And several times I've had to make really tough decisions, and I've just gone away and sat and just in my mind pictured myself in another scenario and just sort of responded to how I felt in that scenario, and you soon know whether it's the right or wrong one.
So you listen to that inner voice.
Yeah, definitely.
And quite often when we get into those situations, I know for myself, you feel like you can't do anything else and you have to stay there and work harder and harder. And would you agree that that's the time you really do need to take that bit of perspective and step back?
Yeah, I think so, because sometimes when you're working harder and harder, it's like a car, if you're spinning your tyres and you're spinning even further, you're just going further down in the mud. So you need a bit of traction sometimes and get away and think it through. And it's a very big generalisation, but I think sometimes women are much more emotionally attached to things at their own peril at times, whereas a man may make a much quicker, cleaner decision from an economic viewpoint, which is probably a very sensible thing to do at times.
I think it's a different value system too. I
Mm.
think women generally value connection more,
Mm.
and men are generally much more looking at that economic viewpoint as to whether financials make
Yeah.
sense. So Bev, what happened from that? How did you get from closing down Honestly Woman
Mm-hmm.
to Bev Ryan Publishing? Obviously been a journey in there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was working part-time at the time when I closed the magazine, because it was a quarterly magazine. It was really only a part-time, not only, but it was a part-time occupation, so I had a part-time job in there as well. And so I had that to carry me through. But I really had loved so much about doing the magazine that I sat down and literally wrote down the aspects of publishing the magazine that I loved to do, and tried to figure out how I could take those aspects further. And one of them was just being with really interesting women, because the magazine had enabled me to interview people and write their stories. So I also knew that people were very interested in self-publishing, so I had those skills, having basically taught myself how to self-publish a magazine. So I saw the connection there of working with women in a community atmosphere, setting up the website and the monthly meetings, just to sort of, support each other along the way, I suppose.
And have that connection, that emotional
Yeah,
connection.
still connected me with people face to face over a cup of coffee once a month, but also the website was able to bring it all together.
So basically you worked out where you wanted to go in life, and what skills you had, and how you could bring those together to do something every day that you enjoyed.
That's right, exactly. Yes, gotta
Okay.
love it.
All right, that's fantastic. Well, Bev, it's been great having you, and we really appreciate your time.
It's a pleasure.
Just need to go for another break.